start with the types, the applications, and there were two types of basic radars. One was your primary, the second is the secondary itself. Now we see the primary radar has a direct application on the aircraft, which was known as the airborne weather radar. Now with the full form itself, you should understand that its usage is to depict the weather. We'll see how. You can see on this is how on the cockpit or in the cockpit, this is how the display is given to the pilot. Okay, and the principle you can see is principles of the radar, which is your search, search and echo principle, both of them. So AWR works in this method. Okay, there could be different displays on the aircraft. One which we saw the previous one or this one, both of displaying the same thing, and we'll get to what they're displaying. It is used to provide pilots with the information regarding weather. We'll see how. It requires interpretation by the pilot. All right. Displayed on the IFIS. I've already explained you IFIS, I think, right? Electronic Flight Information System. A1 equipment, the A1 equipment which is required for this particular radar is the transmitter, the receiver, antenna that is stabilized in pitch and roll, the indicator, and the control unit. These are the components which are required on board the aircraft to make an AWR function. You can see that I've already explained in radar, one of the pictures that were given to you. This is the antenna, and you can see there are small slots present inside the antenna that makes this antenna slotted, or this is the type of slotted antenna which we were talking about. We'll see how this works, and you can see one of the key important things are here that stabilize in pitch and roll, so that we know that the movement itself is in pitch and roll. We'll see how it works. The AWR functions, basic function is to detect the size of water droplets and hence reduce where the areas of turbulence are within the cloud. In simple language, what is the use of radar? To depict or to identify the object by sending out the radio waves. When it sends out the radio waves, any object which is present here, it would reflect back the radio waves. When the radio waves are reflected back, what will happen is this becomes a receiver and it receives it. What is it doing? It is calculating the time. Okay, it calculates the time. It from the time it has this. Okay, from the time it has the speed of light. So time is calculated, and that is how we calculate the distance. Okay, now distance can be calculated. Perfect. But we require a far greater thing. We require what? We require a bearing. Where is this object? And in order to identify that, we also had the searchlight principle, which we showed, which I made you understand. Now, if in order to capture the water droplets, which are not the size of a box, of course, they are really small. You need to understand we need a really high frequency in order to capture these water droplets. Why? In simple language, if I explain you, the higher the frequency, the less will be the wavelength. Okay, C is equal to F into lambda. This implies that F is inversely proportional to lambda, which is your wavelength. That means the higher the frequency, less the wavelength. Now wavelength is what? Wavelength is your cycle length. Okay, one cycle takes place in how much distance? That is your wavelength. So all in all, we want to reduce the wavelength size so that these water droplets can send us the signal. And when we get the signals back from these water droplets, we can create a picture, which we saw in the first slide. And that depicts the pilots that this is an area where a lot of water droplets are present. So please avoid this area because there could be some clouds, some winds, or basically turbulence. Yeah.
How does it show the image of whole cloud or larger amount of water droplets?
I don't understand the question. Can you elaborate?
Like in the first picture, you have shown that it is showing red, green, and which
That's
shows
the
that
intensity. That is
yes,
the intensity. Now tell me, if I have this cloud and I have less water droplets, where will be the returns high? Where will the radio wave return higher?
Then
Upper one? Yeah. So that is the thing. Okay. Wherever we getting the returns higher in the screen, the color changes accordingly. So here we will get less returns, then we will get a lighter color, and that we'll discuss. The colors we'll discuss. Okay. So this is the basic principle.
I'm not asking that.
Okay.
So like how it affects the size of the cloud.
It's not depicting the size of cloud. It is just showing you rainfall. Wherever the amount of water vapor is present, you should know that cloud is present there. That is what it's showing. They determine the height of the cloud. Now this is where we will use the radar pitch and roll thing. We understood that we can move the radar also, so we'll see how we can move that. We can tilt it radar up and down. That is how we'll see it works. We can also map the terrain. Now terrain is what? If the aircraft is flying, the terrain would be the ground. Okay, so it can map the ground as well. So if I have an aircraft, this is my airborne weather radar. I can ask it to pitch down. So I can map the ground ahead or the mountains which are coming ahead. So it can use to map the terrain also. And what the cloud about? If I want the cloud, let's say this is my aircraft, I'm traveling this side. So this will be the weather radar. If I'm scanning it up, I can map the water vapors or clouds. That's what how you use it. We have a picture, so we'll understand how it works. It also provides a fix, range and bearing from a permanent picture. Not that used, but it also provides the fix. All right, I will have to raise everything. Yeah. So all in all, you see this picture, understand this is how both their working is done. All right. If you see this diagram, you'll realize what is happening. On the right side, it is mapping the terrain. On the left side, it is mapping the cloud. Okay. Now you can see the cloud. It is able to map it like this. Wherever the area green, yellow, and red is available, there is the water droplets. Where the black is present, there are no returns. Okay. Whereas on the right side also, you can see the ground being mapped. So you have green, red, all these colors, and wherever the black is present, that means that the no returns were available. Okay. So that is how we use the AWR in simple language. Okay. You can see why I have said that no returns on the black side. Even though there was a mountain on the right side, behind the mountain, we will have no returns. Okay. Behind this mountain, we have no return. So it is a black. All right. And the same thing goes here. See, behind this thunderstorm on the left side, behind the thunderstorm, there is no returns. So we have again a black portion. That is the reason we have no returns in the black portion. All right. We'll discuss this in brief. Okay. So the principle of operation remains the same. The primary radar, okay, so you send out the signals, some signals come back, and that is how it works. And on the right side, you have the searchlight principle also. Both of them work together. The range of ground targets obtained from the display will be the slant range. Yeah, of course, we know this, right? We just saw that because the beam is slant, so we'll not get the DME distance, which in radars we should get. We'll get the slant range. That is the slant range. Okay. This picture comes again. This is the radome. Okay, this is my radome. I've already explained this in the last class. This is my AWR. And why is the radome not made of aluminium? So that the radio waves can go outside. We'll drag this here. The shape can be parabolic or a flat plate. This is a flat plate slotted antenna, not a parabolic. Parabolic I've explained to you in the previous class. It produces a conical and a pencil shaped beam. Now, what is an example of these things? See, conical is your mobile flashlight. Okay, broad. Okay, and the range becomes small. Pencil beam is a torch. If you have a high quality torch, it can go large. In other words, if you have lights in your vehicles, you might have used your headlights, right? There are two options. You can use the beam to extend the range, and you can use a broader one. So the conical one is like a cone, whereas a beam is like a pencil. That is why these words. Okay, the conical one is a fan shaped or a cosecant field. So these two are all the same things. Okay, pencil beam is the same. We'll see this What is the meaning of cosecant squared beam? What is this cosecant? You might have already heard cosecant in some way trigonometry, but we'll see this. What is this? The pencil beam is used for weather and long range. I just explained you, this is my pencil. So I will have long range. This is my broad category, or this is my conical. Okay. Okay. While the fan beam is used for short range mapping, it is usually necessary to tilt the antenna down when using the radar in the mapping mode. We'll discuss these modes also. Okay. These modes, you can see the antenna is tilted down. Okay. This is the pitch of the antenna, which I showed you in the second slide. The pencil beam is used for weather depiction. This is your pencil beam and the fan beam. Both are there. Okay. You can see this is a broad beam. Okay. And this is a pencil beam, or this is a thin, narrow. Okay. This is a narrow one. On the right side, you have a broad. Both are used to scan it, but you can see the range is less on the right side, and on the left side, the range is more. Okay. The beam width must be as narrow as possible for efficient target resolution. That is the only reason we use this for weather depiction, and the right one we use for mapping or terrain. Terrain is the ground. All right. Now, why we use the air weather report? So that we can know the clouds or the water droplets. So you can see this aircraft is trying to get the sense of the clouds. Now, what happens here is, in order to produce the narrow beams, it is essential to use shorter wavelengths. So when we'll use shorter wavelengths, what will happen is frequency will go high. That is why we use the high frequencies in our AWR, and we'll see the frequency band. Okay, you can see the aircraft. If it had a broad category, what will happen? If I draw broad signal, I will not be able to capture these. Okay, because these clouds will interfere. If I have a narrow beam, what is happening is I'm able to get the signals from these, or I'm getting the waves returns from these. Okay, and that is the reason we use narrow beam. The optimum radar frequency is one that has a wavelength comparable to the size of the objects we wish to depict, which I told you in the second slide, right? That lambda determines the water droplets. Droplets are approximately 3 centimeter across. Okay, those droplets which form the cloud around this big, 3 centimeters. So you can see in this video, you're sending out radio waves, and only partially small radio waves will come back, and that will give you a picture on your AWR screen that water droplets are present. So please don't go there. The typical frequency is 9,000.
Sir, in between your voice is getting stuck.
Okay, let me just check my internet connection.
So your net is okay.
Okay, mine is okay. All right. Yeah, mine is okay. All right. As I'm telling you that, yeah, the frequency is 9,375 megahertz. Till now, this is the highest you have seen. Okay. And this is really high because we want the lambda to get smaller and smaller. The smaller the lambda, the smaller water droplets we will be able to get back the returns. Okay. Lambda is equal to, I just calculate the lambda from this. Okay. If I have 9,375 megahertz frequency, how will I calculate the lambda? C is equal to F times lambda. So C by F equal to lambda. Now C is what? 3 into 10 to the power 8. F is what? 9,375 10 to the power 6. This cancels this. We get 10 power 2 here. This is equal to 300 divided by 9,375. Okay. If you see, the answer comes around this 3.2 centimeter. And I just told you droplet size is 3 centimeters. Okay. So this proves us that in order to get the best returns, we need approximately 9,375 megahertz of light. Okay. Let's come to the weather depiction. As we were discussing what are the colors and all, that is what we're going to go. Okay. You can see the most reflections from the radio waves are from wet hail. You need to understand why. Wet hail is like a solid snow particle. and it's like a solid ice, not snow, ice. Rain is a little smaller particle, whereas ice crystals are so shaped that they can avoid the radio waves. And as we go down, the reflectivity reduces. In simple manners, the bigger the ice or bigger the water droplet, the better returns will get. And that is how we depict the clouds. Okay, you need to understand droplets will be meaning to the pilots that there are clouds. Now clouds give us dangerous turbulence. So that is why we avoid such circumstances. Sole purpose of AWR is to avoid the weather and not to circumnavigate through the active cells. What is the meaning of circumnavigate? Just that you fly into a active cell. Now, what is an active cell? It is not a bomb or something. Okay, active cell means that the cloud itself is active. Active means it is in the form of either making or a mature seed. You need to understand this in the meteorology. Active means that the cells are actively giving off rain or doing process. It's not dead. So circumnavigation basically means that you will fly directly inside. You need to avoid that. Okay. Instead of this, if you know the position of a cloud, you can simply go around this cloud. Okay. Go left, go right, somewhere. Okay. You'll avoid this. That is the major use of AWR, and it's the most useful device you'll find out in turbulence. This is going to save many of your, threats. Okay. So all in all, I have got this picture. You can click a picture of this in your mind so that in the exam you carry it. Okay. This is how the reflectivity comes. See, in the fog, we have very less reflectivity, and the liquid water or the ice, we have a lot of reflectivity. This is how it goes down. Wet hail, rain, snow, dry hail, snow. We don't have to memorize all this, but this will be useful to you. Okay. This table is actually useful more than that one. That was just to give you some curiosity. Now the black returns means basically no returns or very light returns. The green one are light, and as the color changes, you need to understand magenta or red are the most dangerous ones. Okay, magenta directly means turbulence, red means strong returns, and this one goes on. Okay, you don't have to memorize all of it. You just need to remember the colors at least. That if it asks in the exams which of the following color is not included in the AWR, then you should know which color is not included. Okay, these colors remain fixed. Sure. The areas of greatest potential turbulence occur where the color zones are closest together. That is the steepest rainfall gradient. Okay, so if we have all magenta, red, yellow, green, black, all they are very, very close together in a screen, that would directly mean that turbulence or the active cells are present nearby. In simple words like this, if there's a picture like this on your screen, please avoid it. Okay, you can see all these colors like magenta. Magenta is in the center. Then we have red, yellow, and green. Okay, so of course the pilot is not idiot. He'll not go through this. He'll circumnavigate. Some shapes which are prescribed by all the authorities to avoid are U shape, fingers, edges, and hooks. One by one, let's look. This is a finger shape. You can see this is a finger shape. Okay, you have to avoid it. Then we have a U shape. This is a U shape. Avoid this. Hook is somewhere here, and scalloped edges are like this. Okay, all these shapes are present in notes. Go through them. Only the names should be asked. Okay, these are the names you should remember. Okay, U shape, finger, hook, and scalloped edges. And of course, steep colors put together are also to be avoided. All right. Now let's come to the part where pilots will handle. Okay, pilots will use this. This is known as control unit. This is one of the older versions. Okay, you can see what are the things here. One is same thing, basically your switch on and off. Okay, then you have gain. We'll understand what is gain. Gain is the intensity, how much you use the radar. Okay, then you have this, the functional switch, and then you have the tilt, whether you can tilt it up or down. Okay, these are the basic one, and this is, you have the newer or the modern version. In this one, you can see this is the power switch. Okay, this is the time-based range switch. How much range you want? It is 20 nautical mile, 50 nautical mile, 150 nautical mile. I think it is 80. I don't remember. And there is a standby button also. Okay, not required, not required. Tilt is required. Okay, the tilt will give you pitch control, up and down, left and right, whatever it is. Okay, then you have the manual control. As I told you, intensity, lighting system not required, marker brilliance not required. Then you have this is the most important one. Okay, function switch, and we'll discuss all of them one by one. Okay, we'll discuss the function switch, manual control, power switch, and time-based range. And I'll underline what are these important things. You don't have to memorize everything. All right, chalo. First one is the power switch. Power switch का मतलब meaning है you need to switch it on or off. There are two basic tabs, on or off. ठीक है? On and off. Okay. Switching tab off will lock the scanner to the pitch and roll axis of the aircraft. Suppose you are in the aircraft, okay, and you switch it off, so it will lock in the last position. That's what it's saying. It's a basic thing, right? Power on and off. We have the range switch next.
Sir,
Yeah.
in this slide, did you notice that in the older ones they have the test option? And
Yeah.
new ones they don't. Why don't they do like that?
Okay, I have to think about it. Test, yeah, might be because engineers found it that what happens is you can't test this on ground. I'll explain you. It is very risky to test or switch it on the ground because it will cause things like cancer and all. And I'll explain you because of the presence of this high frequency. Okay, now this frequency is so small, it is so high that it can go inside humans and it can affect their system. So that is why it must be. So you can see what is the difference between both of them. Okay, if you see, there is no standby. Standby is this? No, standby nahi hai. Okay, so there is a standby button. Maybe because of that they have put this test. Maybe. Anyways, I don't have a correct answer because I never thought about this. Sure, think about it. Let me know. See, the reason is simple, as I told you, this because of the risky or the dangers because of it. I'll explain you with this slide. Okay. See, we have a standby button here. Then we have the range. The standby is used to maintain the radiation that can damage the health and the reflections from the structures and can damage the equipment also. Even not that, even the people could be damaged. So this is very harmful to you. So maybe this is the reason we have a test switch, or test is basically used by the engineers. This system is also used to check the weather conditions, the takeoff directions. Why? We have a range switch. We can increase the range, we can reduce the range as we require. Maximum practical range is 150 nautical mile. This is important. Okay. Maximum range is 150 nautical mile. Then we have the tilt control. As I told you, the airborne weather radar can go up and down, okay, according to your needs. So you can go up or you can go down, okay, up and down. The control enables the radar to go 15 degrees up and down. That's it. If you want to scan a cloud top, you scan it up. If you want to scan the ground, you go down, okay. Finally, we have the function switch, which is the main one, okay. First one is the map. If you see map, okay, map is used to map the ground. Okay, this is mapping, and these are known as cosecant square beams. Okay, cosecant square is basically 1 by sine. Okay, that is cosecant. Why is this? Because we are having the signals like this. Okay, this is the shape of a beam. Okay, the pencil beams are for the long one, and the short one is used for the broad ones. Okay, to present an even surface feature, the transmitted power is progressively reduced as distance decreases, so that the power directed to the closest object is minimal. You keep on reducing the power until and unless you get the signals that are close by. You don't require it. You don't require so much power. Why? Because you're not using it. So just switch it to less power. The reduction in power with the decreasing range is a function of cosecant. Okay, this is why the cosecant name is given. Hence the name cosecant square beam. So in short terms, you can write in your notes also. As the requirement for range reduces, you will reduce your power, and the reduction in power is on the basis of cosecant. Cosecant. Okay, this is the square. So cosecant square times the whatever this is power. Okay? That is how you reduce
Sir,
it. Yeah.
the power of the radar, मतलब emitting radar, is adjusted by itself, right?
No.
We need to adjust it. as
Yeah.
a
You can see this manual pane control. Yeah. And the range switch.
pilot. Yes.
Both of them are controlled by the pilots. Okay. All right. So all in all, we have this. Okay. This is your up and down. You can see the aircraft can scan up and down. Left and right is because the aircraft can tilt itself and all. But there is no switch to tilt left and right. Okay. As I was discussing the function switch, man. Next is the man. This is used for cloud detection. If you switch to man, it will directly go up. Okay. Selects the conical pencil shape beam and it will go up. Okay. So you don't need to use this again and again. Instead of man, it will try to depict the water droplets, what are present above. So when you select man, it means that cloud detection. Then we have the cont. Okay. If you see cont, it is present here. Okay. Cont is contour. Now I explained contour many times before also. Contour is basically the points where the similarities of pressure or your height is present. So if I join 2-3 places of similar height, this becomes a contour line. Okay. So in this case, what is contour? Contour is basically a black and white picture. In a black and white display, what happens is we only get white or black. And we'll see how. The darker colors indicate dangerous areas of concentrated rainfall and ocean turbulence. So the screen will be white. Okay, the whole screen is white. What will happen is the areas where we see black ocean, that is where we will see turbulence. And this is where the questions are asked. Okay, till now we saw that the developments were that we were getting signals of all the colors and all, okay, fancy colors. But right now there's a function of contour. There is where we only get black and white display. The degree of danger depends on the steepness of the rainfall gradient. Now this is very important, has come in the last times also. The black holes indicate dangerous areas of concentrated rainfall and potential turbulence. Okay, this is a black hole. If I draw a black hole in the screen, what will happen? Okay. This area is of potential threat. So always remember, in a contour, a black hole depicts a danger, or this line is whole important. Okay, what is the use of contour? Basically, if a pilot does not know the significance of colors and all, he or she can switch it to the contour. Okay, so this will give a basic outlay of anything which is present. So everything could be avoided upon the steepness of the colors. In this, the colors are not present, so you can directly go to black and white. Black means danger, white means okay, you can fly. Okay. How to avoid the thunderstorms? Thunderstorms, why? Thunderstorms are the main reason for your turbulence. Constant switching between short and medium and long ranges. We have the range set, right? In order to maintain a complete picture of the storm. Vertically, you have to remember to avoid the thunderstorm by 5,000 feet. So in questions, there are many times it is asked by how much you have to avoid it. All in all, below 20,000 feet, okay, if the height of the cloud is below 20,000 feet, avoid the cloud by 5 nautical miles. It is not the vertical, it is the horizontal distance. That means that if an aircraft is approaching a cloud, now it depends on the height of the cloud and that distance you have to avoid by. Okay, so if the height of the cloud is less than 20,000 feet, avoid it by 5 nautical miles at least. And this table continues. Okay, if the height of the cloud is 30,000 feet, then avoid it by 20 nautical miles. Okay, you find this table in your exam, notes also. And overall, you have to avoid the height itself. If you're going over the top, you have to cross it by 5,000. And remember, don't try to act smart and go below the cloud. Okay, why? Because rainfall goes due to gravity down only, so you will get a downdraft. You will go down more. Okay, so you have two options. You can go left, right. Otherwise, if you have a lot of fuel, you can burn the fuel and go over the top, but by 5,000 feet at least. So there's a formula to calculate the height of the cloud also. How is this? The height of a cloud can be calculated by the tilt. We have a tilt, right? That AWR can go up. So how much it can go up will decide the height. For a height of a cloud above the aircraft, the angular elevation of the cloud top can be calculated by the aerial tilt minus half the BW. Who will tell me what is BW? What is BW? Yes, Arthur, you are trying to say something? Achha. PW is the beam width, which I explained in radar. Beam width is same as pulse width. Okay, this is also present in notes. An approx formula for calculating this aerial tilt minus half beam width into 100 into distance of cloud. Okay, this will give you the calculating the height of the cloud. Now, why is the height of the cloud important? Because we need to avoid the cloud. How can we avoid the cloud? By climbing over it, by going left and right. If there's a huge line of cloud, what is the option to left for us? Either we can go back where we came from, or we can go over the top. How to calculate how much you have to climb? You have to calculate by this. Okay. Now, aerial tilt is the angular deviation. Okay. It can go 15 degrees up, 15 degrees down. चलो ये तो हो गया. We found out aerial tilt. Beam width will be given the question. If it's not given the question, then we know how to calculate. With last class we learned how to calculate. Okay. Distance of the cloud will also be given. So let's see how the question looks like. Okay. So beam width I've written here also. The formula is beam width is equal to 70 into the wavelength. Okay. Divided by the antenna diameter. So this is another formula for you guys. These all things will be actually given in the question. I mean, the formula will not be given, but you need to understand these components which are required to calculate are will be given. So all in all, this is the picture, how it look like. Okay. So you can see the aircraft. This is the AWR sending out rays.
So can you show the previous slide?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Remember this one, 70 lambda by diameter. Chalo, 70 lambda by a diameter. Now understand this picture clearly and click a mental screenshot of this so that you remember it. We need to calculate the top of the cloud. Okay. How to calculate the height top or height of the cloud? This is the beam width. Okay. What the pilot does is he or she will scan the cloud. Wherever he stops getting the signal, that is the top. Okay. He will keep on increasing, and wherever he or she gets zero signals or he gets black signals, that means that there is no cloud. So that is the point the cloud stopped. So we need to calculate that tilt. Once you get the tilt, we have the distance. Okay. Now see the beam width. Beam width is given 4. Okay. Beam width is also given. So we have the formula. So tilt angle, how much is tilt angle? 3 minus half my beam width. Beam width is 4 into 100 into distance, which is 60. So my answer comes 100 to 60, 6,000 feet. So answer is always in feet. That is how we do the questions. Does anyone have doubt in this? No? Acha, anything related to the procedure, how we did, anything before also, till now, anything? No? Acha. Okay, good. Saikiran? Saikiran?
No, sir.
All right, sure. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's do this question. Please calculate the altitude of the cloud tops, or you need to calculate the height. Okay. So I'm writing the sequence. You can answer your questions accordingly.
Four five double zero feet.
4500. Okay. Remember, the aircraft is at 36,000 feet.
Four, five.
Okay. You need to apply a little bit common sense here, which I just told you. The aircraft is at 36,000 feet, and I need to calculate the cloud height.
So I'll go with 40500 feet.
Okay.
My answer is 4050.
Okay. Same. Should I write the formula, Saikiran, Rupesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So formula is what? Acha, Rupesh, you let Rupesh answer. Then I'll explain. Yeah.
It's 4,500.
You think it's 4,500 feet? Okay. Saikiran, you don't have any answer?
I didn't.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Height is equal to, see, we have the formula, I'll write it here. Tilt minus half your beam width. Okay, sorry. Tilt minus half the beam width into 100 into my distance from cloud. ठीक है. अच्छा, यहाँ साइकिल you see tilt is 3 degrees. तो यहाँ पर आपको 3 लिखना था. Half into beam width is 4 degrees. तो आपको 4 लिखना था. 100 into distance. Distance क्या दिया है? 45 nautical mile. तो 45 लिखना था. तो आपका आंसर क्या आ रहा है यहाँ से? You just need to do simple maths.
Yes, sir.
आपका आंसर 4,500 फीट आ गया. तो इसमें what was difficult?
नहीं सर, मैं डिस्टेंस और
क्या?
डिस्टेंस ऑफ क्लाउड है ना सर, उसमें नहीं किया था. 45.
अच्छा. Now where the common sense is applied is, I'll explain. See, 4,500 feet is the cloud height from the place where the aircraft is already flying. Okay. So upon this, we have 4,500 feet. Now, because this is the tilt, 3-degree tilt, right? That is why 4,500. So we're already 36,000 feet above So this means that the cloud is also 36,000 feet plus this height equals to 40,500 feet. And that is how the questions in BGC will be asked. Okay.
Okay.
You can see I've got my answer, but this is not the correct answer. Cloud top is at 40,500. All right, Rupesh?
Yes. So that was my doubt.
Yeah. So that is why I was keeping on telling you this. Chalo, good job, Sarthak, Chinmay. All right. Mapping operations. We're going to discuss two more things before we end the chapter today. There are two things where people can think doubts. Okay. Less energy gets reflected from sea. Hence, the coastlines are very distinct. Bright aquas come from built up areas like tall buildings. Okay. So by chance, if you are going in a flight and you're coming and landing from the coast, what you'll find is you'll find that the sea reflects less because all of the sea will absorb, whereas the buildings will give off the signal, right? They will reflect back the signals. So you need to understand these 2 points. And there is one more interesting thing which I've already told you. Suppose there is a mountain you are scanning, okay, and behind there is some another mountain which is present up with this. Because the hill is blocking the path of these radio waves, this area is known as hill shadow. Hill shadow. Okay. And because it is a hill shadow area and we are getting no returns, pilot may think that on the screen it will give them an indication of black, and black will give an indication that there is no return or it's a water body. Why? We just understood that less returns are coming from water bodies. So people or the pilots will think that there is a water body or a lake or something like that present here. Okay, so this is known as hill shadow. Okay, the area behind a hill casts a shadow, giving it a weak returns, giving a false image of water body. Okay, we just understood this. Shadow area is the same thing. Okay, shadow area is what? As I told you, the aircraft has to have a very pencil beam or a torch beam, right? Now, why is that? If it's not having a torch beam, it's having a broad beam, you can see what is happening with this. The aircraft came so close to the cloud that because this cloud is blocking all the returns from this huge, enormous cloud is not able to come back. So this cloud might be in an area of shadow, which is known as shadow area. These are practical things, guys. Okay, once you'll be landing into airlines, you'll be actually using these things. So there's also danger of not being able to map the area behind heavy rain. No radars can penetrate. This will leave a shadow area which contains severe weather. Okay. So anything you have any doubt in the previous slides? Any questions which you are having in mind? Okay, regarding the operations, principle of operation. No. Sure. Okay. We'll do a quick summary then. Components which are required: transmitter, receiver, antenna, indicator, and a control unit. Principle is echo for range, sweep for relative bearing. Pencil beam is used, cosecant square beam is used for short range. Beam width, antenna size, effect of beam width is this, frequency used is this. Okay, all of these points are almost important. So that is why this is present in notes, I think also. Okay, this like very important. Okay, U, finger, scallops, and hooks. Colors black, green, yellow, red. This whole is actually you should highlight this. It is very important, and the frequency is also important. Okay. Then we have the control unit. I don't think I have to explain you the control unit again. It's the same thing which I explained you. Power on, power off button, stabilize button, range, tilt, map is to map. Okay. Man is to manually get the weather is for the contrast, the black holes indicating turbulence or black and white screen. Okay. Mapping is the operation when you tilt down for best presentation. Beware of hill shadows. I just explained you what is hill shadows, right? Mapping, I've told you already, it's for ground. Man and weather is for clouds. Contour is black and white. So please don't confuse yourself in the exams. Weather operations, adjust tilt for best weather picture. Too high tilt will miss the thunderstorm. We just did the questions, right? We have the formula also. If you keep on scanning up and up, we will get no returns. So if you have a airborne weather radar at 15 degrees, what is the point? You will not even get any clouds. Okay. Okay. This is not required. Not required. Color video, we don't have to remember all this. Chalo. Any questions about today?
No, sir.
All right. Anyone except for Chinmay? Sarthak? Any question?
सर इसमें से न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चंस आए
Good. Cycling, whatever I've taught you, only that part will come. Okay. Oxford, if you go in the Oxford book, there are multiple things which are not required. Okay. Numerical question bhi aa sakta hai. Anything can come. I think 1 or 2 questions can come from this chapter maybe. Okay. Rupesh, do you have any questions?
Sir, one question.
Huh.
Sir, in the question you asked, sir, the previous question,
Huh.
sir, tilt was given 3 degrees.
Hmm.
Sir, in the exam, can it ask more than 3 degrees?
Yeah. Of course. It can go till 15, so they can even ask 15. Okay. Sure. Anything else? Nothing? Okay. Which trainee aircraft in Indian Flight Club has a AWR? Any idea? No? DF40 does not have. Yeah. But 42 all variants don't have. Okay. So find it out if you want. You are guys planning to fly. So find it out if it has one. If you don't, then you can ask me a little. Okay. So suppose if you do not have a AWR, and of course we do not have in your Cessna and DF40, then how are you? What's the trick to know that there is a thunderstorm nearby? If you don't have an AWR on board, what's a trick you can actually get to know where is some lightning, thunderstorm, or CB?
By seeing the wind components in the vector spin.
Okay, wind component maybe. Yeah. Anything else? Visually.
Type of clouds.
Okay,
Type of
visually.
clouds.
Type of clouds. Instruments.
Mostly I would go with the winds.
It's all right. It's all right. So I'm talking about instruments. Okay. So we're talking about night and instruments. Let's. Achha, I'll give you a clue. We have studied that chapter. No? Sure. I'll answer it. So if you see the chapter NDV, ADF, there was something, an error. The error was known as static interference. Now, if you have an ADF on board, that is your RBI, okay, what will happen if there is some static interference, your particular needle will start to fluctuate, give you wrong readings. And if everything is going on correctly in flight, there can be only 2 reasons why this is happening. One, that something is wrong with the aircraft instrument. Otherwise, you need to understand that if you see lightning, some small lightning, and you have fluctuation, you need to understand that you have to turn around and go back. This is not the time to fly. Okay, this is a trick people used to do when till we did not have AWR. I learned that in my flying club, so I'll just telling you. Chalo, theek hai. So go on. Mostly I've seen